Windstar's greatest challenge has been started in 1986 called the Choices Symposium. Held in Aspen, Colorado, and attended by 2,000 participants from around the world, it has brought together some of the most inspiring and influential people on the planet. It's a celebration of excellence. Its purpose appears to be an attempt to discover a process, in a sense, to build a new social technology for bringing about action, people taking steps toward a sustainable future.
I think that everyone comes here really shows up because they're really committed to do something. And I think there's a very special energy at the Windstar conferences.
I have never been with people like this without growing myself. And I think you can become stagnant, assuming you know everything and you have your path and you're on your way. And then every time I go to something like this and interact with people that are doing wonderful things for other people, I come away feeling very humble and very human, and I want to say, you bet.
The idea is if people are brought into contact with those who are already successful in the right combination of settings and the right combination of events, they will be able to model them, to transform themselves into action takers. The presenters, as they call them, are some of the most effective leaders from business, education, politics, and a myriad of other professions.
Well, Earth Keepers, come on out. Let's show these people a song.
Many of the participants bring their children to join in one of the various Earth Keepers programs, which run parallel to the talks of the main speakers. After all, most of the speakers' dreams will not be realized by them, but by their children. It is against the Earth Keeper's world that the speaker's remarks must be measured.
Can you wave?
What's real important is that every time that you guys have been here and you've been experiencing this wonderful stuff and this wonderful energy and all these great speakers and music, the Earth Keepers have been out doing the same kind of program.
In every region of the world, people are rising up and demonstrating what we can do now. We can feed, we can house, we can educate, we can perform miracles, we are performing miracles, and the world needs to catch a glimpse of its collective potential.
If you're in another country and you're poor and you could be real sad and you don't have a mother and father, or you're real sick, or you could be dying, you would need some help, and you would want some help from other people. So if you come from another land to help them, that would be real nice for them.
The main reason I wanted to come back this year to the symposium was for the Earth Keepers. I think it is so important for the children to understand how important our ecology is, how important they figure in keeping our Earth, the spaceship Earth, intact for all of us, for future generations, for everyone, for this baby. She's almost 5 months old. She's got to have an Earth too. We're not the only ones that get to have it. And my girls that are here as Earth Keepers, I hope, will learn that.
We at NASA and throughout the scientific community realize there are so many things about this Earth that we don't know about. We think we do, but we don't. The interaction between the seas and the atmospheres and the ice caps and the land masses and the rivers and all these things. We've got a long way to go, folks. And we think our mission to planet Earth, sometime in the 1990s, a series of satellites that will look inward at ourselves and our Earth will certainly help us to protect not only our environment, but the continuation of our species. Which, if we don't reverse this trend, this downward slope of destroying ourselves, which we are doing, and get it turned around and in the right direction, By the year 2100, we might not have anybody left to go explore the outer reaches of our solar system.
Well, I'm an Earthkeeper, and I kind of worry that in the future there won't be any animals, and the rainforests are getting cut down for the cattle and stuff, and we need the rainforests.
And if we pollute too much, like if we pollute the water, people will have to drink the water and it might pollute them.
Have we become so inured to unethical behavior? By our lack of expectations, what are we teaching our children about ethics in action? Perhaps nowhere is ethics more vital than environmental protection. Perhaps nowhere are ethics more obviously missing. What we need to do is to put stars in the eyes of our children and dreams in the heart of the world at peace with itself. And what I want is for the only place for people to learn about nuclear war and nuclear destruction is that which they can find in a history book.
What does that mean?
I'd like to build a bridge between us. I'd like to break all the barriers down.
What we need, in effect, are rules of the road for individuals, for corporations, and for nations. Rules of the road about how you treat the environment, about how you treat people.
Let's blow them away from people's face, because if they get in somebody's eyes, it might hurt.
I think Earthkeepers are like people that save the earth and plant new trees and seeds for new life. And so they're like keeping the earth alive.
Many of you don't know that I started teaching 30 years ago, and I was teaching first and second graders, and at that time it wasn't a popular thing for men to be teaching first and second graders, and what a thrill that was. You know, I went on to teaching graduate school at USC, but I never had students like those first and second graders. Boy, did they keep me alert. And they were still at that vacuum cleaner stage, you know, where they wanted to know everything. And you know what I used to describe it as? They were still out there brailing the world. And you know, I never want to stop brailing the world.
What is it that you're writing? What is your commitment?
I will join the Peace Corps and help feed starving people.
That's super.
And if any of you never read that wonderful book by William Glasser, go get it, Positive Addiction, where he studied joggers and meditators and people who did yoga and people who did something non-competitive, intrinsically valuable just for themselves on almost a daily basis for 45 minutes to an hour. You know what he found in terms of their behavior with other people? They were better listeners, they were more empathetic. Why? Because they had taken care of themselves. It's pretty hard for us to go out and take care of others and live the vision and the image that we have if we haven't taken care of ourselves.
What is a commitment? What does that mean, a commitment? Alex, do you know what that means?
Well, it means to like make a promise and stick to it. And to really stick to it without, like, if I were to say, I'm making a commitment, and to help the needing, and I never did that, that would be a lie. It's not a commitment. But if I stuck to it, it's a commitment.
I know that people who really take a stand and who commit themselves, you know, they truly become outstanding people in the sense that they stand outside of the norm. The norm really the normal way of operating there is without commitment.
I'm an Earthkeeper, and I like to learn. And that's the reason I come to Earthkeepers.
When children give us a paper that's not what we feel it should be universally, we will say to them, would you give this paper to God? And if they say no, we'll say, well, we don't want it either.
If a child doesn't believe in God, we will say, well, would you drop this paper anywhere in the world? And be able to proudly say, that's my paper. If you can't do that, we will not take it either. We let them know that first-rate professionals are always in short supply. You can find average people, average citizens, average things anywhere. No one is looking for that which is average, the way they move, the way they talk. We call our brand of education a new religion. No one wants you moving like you're dying, head down, I don't know, but I'm not sure, but I'll try. Our children are never allowed to say, I can't. We tell them that can't, you simply remove the T from can't and you have I can.
I will pick up trash in parks and in our cities, and I will not litter.
Great commitment. Some of these commitments you can do right away, and some of these commitments are going to have to wait till you grow up, aren't they?
Business and economics is really about how we add value. And you can't add value unless you have them. So I want to recognize and acknowledge the fact that those values that you hold so dearly within yourself and are sometimes afraid to express is exactly what the business world needs. Being a good human being is good business. And that hasn't always been true in this country. And I think it is now. And the last thing I want to tell you is that business is too important to be left up to business people.
The symposium strategy is to give the participants a mixed bag of experiences. While the days are for business and the intellect, evenings are for relaxing and the heart.
We surely will burn. What are we making weapons for?
There are concerts which have their high moments, as when John Denver and Alexander Grodsky, one of the most popular musicians in the Soviet Union, sang together.
Take it away from the hands of the poor. Tell me, what are we making weapons for?
And there are moments that will never be forgotten, such as the exchange between Tom Crum and Vladimir Posner, director of Soviet media.
And so this is what I did with these educators. I couldn't speak their language, they couldn't speak mine. We had an interpreter, but we felt like, let's do it this way. So I had him put his fist right here. And then I had him put his face right next to his fist. I put my fist right here. And I began to push. And then I said, comrade, why are you pushing?
Because you're pushing.
That's exactly what he said. He said, because you're pushing. And what was interesting, when I stopped pushing just the last 10 seconds, what did Vladimir do?
Stop pushing.
Stop pushing. And if I push with 400 pounds of strength, exactly how much force do you think Vladimir will push with?
400 pounds.
400 pounds. Now, I said each year it gets worse, because each year we move down one knuckle. Put your face right here. Yeah. Okay. And the next year we move down one knuckle. And then I said, comrade, how does this feel?
Get smacked in the face, son. Feels dangerous.
The educator said, Nick. Says, I don't like this. I said, I don't like either. And I said, guess what? If one of us slips, who loses?
Both.
Both. Very scary feeling. And so then, I put the gun right here. And I said, Vladimir, in this situation, which would you like me? More secure or less secure?
Don't tremble. More secure.
Yes. Soviet educator said, I like you very happy. Right? And then I gave the Soviet educator a gun. is only the second time I've ever shared this over the last 5 years in which he didn't put a gun at my head, too. Thank you.
But the goal of the conference is to change people, to make them believe they can make a difference. To complete their empowerment process, plenty of time was set aside for small group interactions, one-on-one contact with the presenters, and for the participants to network among themselves. It is believed this is a way true modeling of success can take place.
The lesson, the story was great. Right. And what's important from my end is we complete that. You get
Okay, well, that's your mission then. Okay.
Thanks. Thanks for sharing.
Your keto is
The speakers are all available and they're scattered around and we can go talk to them. I just had a nice conversation with Leo Biscaglia. And it was kind of neat. I asked him what he was working on in his life right now. And it's kind of nice to know that we're all people and that the people that are here that have some fame, that have gone out and done it, are available. And I find it to be motivation by association, to be able to go and talk to them and feel like they're a real person and what they're doing I can do too.
There's not very many people of color here, but a few of us who are here want to take some of the energy from here back home.
Oh, Lord. I have so many incredible things happening. I think something's underway now.
What is it?
Well, that is the chance to get the world back on its feet. Commitment to do something. Do it now.
And I've brought my children so they can be more aware of a stewardship of the world. And it's just not their mother telling them about things. They're listening to other adults and other children, too, that are involved.
I think everything was beautifully integrated. You had the spiritual, the content was there in terms of information, international relations, and it was handled so well in terms of human dynamics. It was enjoyable, everything flowed so smoothly, like a beautiful work of art, like a beautiful song.
I got a renewed commitment to using my business as a tool for world peace, as opposed to a tool for making money.
I'll never be the same. I don't think the same as I did Thursday.
I'm just ready to go into action, and so I'm really glad I came. And so I got recharged, and I'm very happy and joyous, and I met some wonderful people.
Thinking of ways that I can structure my organization so that some of the money that gets generated can go towards causes where the money's really needed.
But I've never been to any place where I've seen a window to the world as much as here.
And what I wonder is, to what extent this really, as John said, can really affect the rest of the world. To what extent we can take back and be strong enough with this to make it work. But as any journalist, if you've been around and you've seen how people live, it's pretty scary. People are basically unhappy, not happy. Most people are not happy. And how do you make them, how do you motivate them? How do you help them get out of that? I don't know to what extent this can do it. I'm willing to, I will try, definitely.
Such is spirit, such is love.
So Windstar seems to be a good idea. But whether it or other organizations like it can touch and transform enough people is still open to question. They do seem to be on the right track. They've knocked down the old myth that we must fight for an ever-decreasing part of the pie. For there really is more than enough for everyone. And certainly a sustainable future for humankind must and will depend on the actions of each individual.
There's no better time to act than now. There's no better place to do it than where you live, and there's nobody better to do it than you yourself.